Welcome everyone to Train Tuesday. I am your host Jim Wiggins. So glad to have you with us. This is a pre-recorded video because, well, happy Halloween. It is Halloween, and should we have done this live? Well, I know some of you might have missed it, as well as, well, we would have had a constant barrage of the doorbell tonight. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and record this session. Now, if you're catching us on our YouTube channel and you like the content, do us a favor and like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video such as this lands in the channel. We're going to be talking a little bit about Athearn Genesis HO, and we're also going to be talking about Athearn N-Scale. So I have a little bit of everything for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. Now, next week we'll return to the live edition, so we'll have time for questions. But for right now, this is a pre-recorded video. And we're going to start tonight talking about the SD70 ACUs. Now, a little bit of background on the SD70Us. In September of 2014, Norfolk Southern purchased 100 former Union Pacific SD90 Mac locomotives from EMD Progress Rail to assist in the high volume traffic that Norfolk Southern was experiencing. As AC traction was being more accepted by the railroad, which previously had relied solely on DC power, the SD90 Max fit the new direction of motor power for the railroad. Starting in 2016, Norfolk Southern began the SD70 ACU Capital Rebuild Program using the SD90 Mac units as its cores. All major components were either overhauled or replaced, including an overhaul of the 710 G3C prime mover. Most notable in the rebuild is from the electrical cabinet forward. All new components were used, including a new ACE-style isolated cab with AAR-style control stand. The new electrical cabinet contains Mitsubishi electronics, replacing the SD90 Max original Siemens equipment. Later, starting in 2018, Canadian Pacific announced a plan to acquire 30 SD70 ACUs from the EMD Progress Rail, using their laid-up fleet of SD90 Mac locomotives as core units. That number was later increased from 30 to 60. They also acquired 2 former Union Pacific units in 2019. Flash forward to November of 2019, and CP painted 5 SD70 ACUs into 5 separate military-inspired paint schemes. These units commemorate the Army, Navy, Air Force, and a special tribute locomotive for D-Day, complete with camo and the Allied invasion stripes that were used on that day, June 6, 1944. Now here you have, from the first announcement, first release, a picture of the SD70 ACU CP7022. I'll read you the part number, but I don't know if you're going to find these. Part number on this particular locomotive is ATHG 75805. Again, the part number on the locomotive on your screen now is ATHG 75805. Now, I say that because when we announced these back in October of 2000, the pre-orders were very heavy. However, there were some of you that did not pre-order and quickly regretted it about a year later. About 18 months after we announced them, they came into stock, and literally they flew off the shelves. These have been extremely popular, and of course we did another announcement in 2022. Those have yet to be delivered, but we're looking at seeing those probably in the end of 2023, early 2024, somewhere in that area. Now, we wanted to not only introduce the locomotive that everybody had been asking for, number 6644, but we wanted to help some of you out there who maybe missed the first or second announcements. So let's go ahead and get started with what we're going to be showing you for the month of November. And keep in mind, everything that I'm going to be showing you is available for pre-order until Friday, November 24th. Now, if you're in the United States, that's the day after Thanksgiving. So one of the things that was a little confusing for some of you folks out there in social media land, you thought that the only way to get 6644 was to buy the 5-unit set that's pictured here. And while you can certainly do that, that is not the case. We are actually offering 6644 by itself with or without sound. But we'll get into that in just a moment. This includes one of each CP military tribute locomotives, including at the top 6644, 7020, 7021, 7022, and 7023. This is a 5-unit set. It's a collector set. If you missed out on any of these in the past 2 runs, this is going to be the easiest way to add these to your collection. Now, we are going to offer these both with and without sound, and a lot of folks have been asking about what kind of box are we going to include with this set. We don't have details on that yet, but rest assured our product development is hard at work on working on that box. So keep your eyes open on our social media feeds, because as the months progress, we'll probably have some behind the scenes pictures for you. Now, the MSRP on these, again, MSRP. So they are $1149.99 without sound, and they are $1599.99 with the Tsunami 2. So whether you go with the non-sound versions or the sound versions, you can get all 5 of these and add them to your collection, and the wait will be over. Now let's go into the individual locomotives that we're going to be offering in this run. So besides the 5-pack, you can also get the locomotives that you may have missed the first time or even the second time and add them to your fleet. Starting with 6640. Now, 6644 wears the camouflage colors applied to the Royal Canadian Air Force Spitfire. Now, the Spitfire, of course, was a frontline fighter aircraft during World War II for both the Royal Air Force as well as the Royal Canadian Air Force. This aircraft was flown during the Allied invasion of Normandy, France on 6th of June 1944. So this model is going to hold a special place with a lot of you guys. It's a really cool tribute, really nicely done. The invasion stripes just set off the camouflage very nicely. And we know you're probably going to want to pre-order one of these, because when they do come into stock in about 18 months later, they're going to go fast. This has probably been the #1 requested out of all 5 of the tribute locomotives, so we saved the best for last. We've also got number 7020. This wears the North Atlantic Treaty Organization green, NATO green, which both Canadian and U.S. armies apply to their Humvees, their tanks, their military equipment that are serving in a temperate climate. Now, we offered this one previously, and now you have an opportunity to add this one to your fleet if you missed it one of those first times. Likewise, 7021 is painted in the standard desert sand with black markings. It's painted in a simplified design, but it's inspired by modern vehicles, again, Humvees, Bradleys, things of that nature, that may have served in recent conflicts such as Afghanistan and Iraq. The road numbers and lettering are applied using a modernized Army stencil font for pure authenticity. Really sharp model. These went extremely quick, so you're going to want to pre-order these by the 24th. Underneath that, we've got 7022. This is the Canadian Pacific locomotive that is painted in the Royal Canadian Navy shipside gray and oxide red with black markings and a black band to mimic the boot top stripe used in the color pattern of modern warships. The road numbers are the same font that are currently used in the Royal Canadian Navy, and they are enlarged to represent the hull numbers found on naval equipment today. Another cool locomotive, and another one that went extremely quickly. Now, rounding out the fleet, we've got the Air Force version. 7023 wears a 2-tone gray paint scheme. It's designed after the livery that's applied to both Canadian and U.S. American fighter aircraft in this modern paint scheme. This is the kind of camouflage you'll see on F-16s, FA-18s, you name it. Anything that's being used in the Royal Canadian Air Force as well as the United States Air Force typically has this 2-tone color. And this locomotive, of course, wears it well. Now, one that's new for us is 7030 Lord Strathcona's Horse. This is the Royal Canadians. It's a regular force armored unit based out of Edmonton, Alberta, and they served in Afghanistan between 2006 and 2010. Really cool locomotive. We've not offered it before. Here it's available. So if you really want to go all out and you've missed the previous runs, you can go ahead and get the 5-pack as well as number 7030. Now, the features that are specific to the Canadian Pacific, they're all going to have center-mounted nose door locks, and they will not have the brackets for blue flags. There are more options per locomotive, and for those details, just go on over to athearn.com. Select the new announcements, and you can see the PDF, which goes into detail of each locomotive, or you can just go to the listing of all of the locomotives that are available in this month for pre-order. Now, we didn't stop with just the CP. No, of course, we had to offer Norfolk Southern. Norfolk Southern, of course, which was the OG of the SD70 ACUs. These are 2016 era locomotives, and we're offering 3 additional road numbers to add to the fleets that you may have pre-ordered in the first 2 runs. Of course, in 2016, Norfolk Southern started this ambitious rebuild, building off from the UP ST9043 Max as cores. The rebuild included upgraded computers and electronic brakes, engine and main generator overall, and a new EMD cab. And of course, Norfolk Southern designated them as SD70 ACUs. So here's your chance to get these locomotives. 3 more road numbers to add to your fleet. They're going to include features such as the Nathan 5 chime horn, large plow, and alternating flashing ditch lights on both ends. Now that's with the Tsunami 2 version. Now I'm going to go back to the original model that I showed at the beginning of the program. We're going to talk about the features and some of the details included on these models. If you're not familiar with this model, we originally announced it in October of 2022. Back then we called it Genesis 2.0 because it had additional lighting features and details that were not then available on Genesis models. So most of the details and features we're going to talk about tonight can be found on these, but you can see additional details if you go to our website at athearn.com. So here we go. Illuminated truck lights, illuminated number boards, see-through air intakes, animated roller bearing trucks. One thing I do want to mention, the first run that we announced in 2020 did not have that. Subsequent runs did have that, but if you maybe missed out on those first ones and you did order the first ones and you wanted the animated roller bearings, you can go ahead and get that option now, as we've got all of them with that option or with that feature. They're going to include coupler cut levers, flexible MU hoses, flexible train line hoses, see-through cab windows. These do have a full cab interior, walkway tread, windshield wipers, wire grab irons, lift rings, sander lines. Non-decoder equipped locomotives will have a DCC ready. They will feature a quick plug and play technology with the 21-pin NEM connector. They all have detailed fuel tank with fuel fillers, fuel gauges, and breather pipes. LED lighting, of course. A very heavy die-cast frame for greater traction and pulling power. And one thing I did want to mention too, these are scaled from prototype resources, including drawings, field measurements, photographs, and more. Now, way back in 2020, we worked closely with Canadian Pacific, and we worked closely to get the right photographs for everything from dimensions of not only the hardware, but the actual graphics that are applied to all of these locomotives. We work very closely with CP. I want to thank CP Rail once again for their cooperation. And in the process, we not only got photographs and drawings and line art and graphics packages, but we also got paint chips as well. So these are going to be the most accurate HO scale SD70 ACUs you can buy on the market. Now, of course, a lot of people ask, what's the minimum radius on these? We recommend a radius of 22 since these are a 6-axle. They're a rather large locomotive, but you can technically run them on a radius of 18. That is the minimum. So I would recommend to stay on the recommended radius of 22, but if you really have to get one of these and you really want to run it on your small layout, you can justify it because they will work on an 18-inch radius. Again, MSRP on these locomotives, talk to your dealer first for your price, but MSRP from the factory, $259.99 without sound. If you spring for the Tsunami 2 equipped decoder versions, they are $359.99. Once again, you're going to want to get in line at the hobby shop right now, your Athearn dealer, and place your pre-orders before Friday, November 24th to make sure that you get these this time, because once we've done these, honestly, I don't know if we'll ever do these again, or if we do, it might be many, many years down the road. But here is your chance to have that bookend set with the 5 set, or just fill in the blanks with what you missed previously with the singles that were even announced. All right, N-Scale guys, I'm looking at you. This is for you. And it's been a little bit since we've offered these 28-foot wedge trailers with dolly. These are great looking little models, and they work great from everything from the smallest T-track module all the way up to Fremo modules or your home layout or your club layout. These could be seen from the 1960s throughout, and we've picked 3 popular lines this time. And we've also given you a wide range and assortment of trailers and trailer numbers so that you can add these to your trucking company or your industrial parks, wherever you have planned. So the first one that we're offering, this is a 1960 era, but it could definitely be used throughout the 70s and early 80s, is Consolidated Freight. Now, Consolidated Freight was an American multinational less than truckload freight service and logistics company that was founded on April 1st, 1929 in Portland, Oregon, and later it was relocated to Vancouver, Washington. Consolidated Freightways was also the founder of the freight line of heavy trucks now owned by Daimler Trucks. Now, at its height, the company possessed over 350 terminals. They employed more than 15,000 truck drivers, dock workers, dispatchers, and management. And Consolidated Freightways was once the nation's #1 long-haul trucking company. Unfortunately, they soon became the 3rd largest ever U.S. bankruptcy filing. Unfortunately, they ceased business in 2002. So that kind of gives you a defining line of when you can add these to your model railroad, anywhere from the 60s to 2002. And what we have here is the 2 trailers plus the dolly. Now, this is going to be an exterior post trailer set. That means that both trailers will have exterior posts. And here you can see trailer number 15-2866, followed by trailer number 17-8672. And yes, even the dolly has got a serial number. It is 01-0556. Now, on top of this trailer set, we're offering 3 additional trailer sets for Consolidated Freight. And you don't have to worry about duplicating road numbers. They're all going to be different. So you can pick up all 4 sets and not have to worry about duplicates. Coming up next is Preston. Again, this is a 1960s, but you can use this in the 70s and the 80s. I remember seeing these on the highways in the 80s. Really cool. Very iconic. It was known on the northeastern highways for its orange and white trucks. Preston 151 was founded back in 1932 in Chesapeake Bay area of the United States. Later, Yellow Corporation purchased the company in 1993, but they then sold it back to several former managers 5 years later when it realized that the company's debts were just too unattainable. The end of the line came in 1999 when Preston shut down operations completely. So, kind of a sad footnote, but these once iconic trucks and trailers were seen throughout North America. Pretty much in this set here, you can run these from 1960 into the 90s, early 90s or so. Now, this trailer set and dolly set will include both a smooth side and an exterior post trailer. Here we have trailer number 37506-SM and trailer number 36671-EP. The dolly number is 102385. Additionally, we have 3 other sets. So in total, you have 4 Preston trailer sets that you can get without the fear of duplicating road numbers. And then finally, this colorful trailer. I know most people that are my age or older probably remember these. As a child, you may have thought they had pies in them. Well, it actually stands for Pacific Intermountain Express, and they became the largest trucking company in the world back in 1956. Unfortunately, these were gone by the early 1990s. There's a huge history out there. If you want to look it up more, you can definitely do a search online and learn some interesting things about the Pacific Intermountain Express. But for those that are modeling the 1960s into the early 1990s, these will make a great addition. Like the Preston ones before it, these are going to be offered as smooth side and exterior post trailers in a set. Here you have trailer number 93-2795-SM, as well as trailer number 99-2443-EP, and dolly number 29-7959. On top of that, there are 3 additional trailer sets, and that gives you a total of 4 that you can add. So, great thing about N scale is you can add all of these to your layout in a distribution center or on a highway. You can use the cab forward Ford trucks that Athearn has offered in the past to haul with these. Some of the features on these models, of course, they're fully assembled. So all you got to do is place them on your layout. Some guys will probably want to weather them, but for the most part, all the hard work is done. Even though they're N scale, though, they're going to have razor sharp printing and painting, and they're authentic. They're based on the actual prototypes. Like I said earlier, you can use these with Athearn tractor trailers that were produced in N scale earlier. And another nice thing about these is they have an interchangeable landing gear, which means you can have the raised position. So if you've got it on your tractor and you're running it down a highway, you can have the raised position. Likewise, if you've got it spotted at an industrial site or a warehouse, they can have the lowered landing gear. Now the MSRP on these sets is $39.99. That's a 3-piece set, which will include both trailers as well as the dolly. Again, that's MSRP, so contact your dealer on what your price will be. And again, you can pre-order these right up until, but not until after Friday, November 24th. So there you have it. That's everything I've got for you. Happy Halloween. I hope you're having a safe Halloween, and hopefully everybody stays safe out there. That's all I've got for you right now. Again, if you like the content that you see here, please do us a favor, like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time one of these videos drops into the YouTube channel. I want everybody out there to enjoy the Halloween, have a happy and safe Halloween, do some good modeling, and above all, high greens.